summoned them in. It was a small, comfortable office. A gray-haired man with a broad, kindly face, wearing a tweed jacket with leather elbow patches, rose from behind a desk. The walls were covered with bookshelves. A fireplace stood against the far wall, logs ablaze. "Welcome, Mr. Glinn," he said, coming from around the desk, hand extended. "Mr. Garza?" They shook hands. "And you must be Dr. Crew. Welcome. I am Dr. Hassenflug. Please sit down." He accompanied this with a gesture indicating the chairs in which they were to sit, arrayed comfortably around the fire. His easy warmth contrasted strongly with the unease that surrounded Garza and Glinn. A brief silence ensued. Dr. Hassenflug finally broke the ice. "I imagine you wish to hear how the patient is doing?" "I'm afraid the news is not encouraging." Glinn clasped his hands and leaned forward. "Thank you, but we're not here to learn about the patient's condition. As we discussed, our only purpose today is to see the patient. His prognosis is not our concern." Hassenflug sat back. "I understand, but a word of caution might be in order." "I'm afraid any such word would be out of order." The doctor fell silent, a frown gathering on his face. Much of his amiable air was dissipating under Glinn's curt and unfriendly tone. "Very well, then." He turned to the orderly, who had been standing behind them, his hands clasped in front of his white jacket. "Ronald, is the patient ready to receive visitors?" "As ready as he'll ever be, Doctor." "Please show the visitors into his quarters. You and Morris remain close by." Hassenflug turned back to Glinn. "If the patient becomes excited, the visit may have to be terminated. Ronald and Morris will be the judges of that." "Understood." They crossed the parlor and great hall, passing beneath another arch into what had once apparently been a large reception room. At the far end was a door, not of wood, but of riveted steel, and toward this door they headed. The orderly named Ronald paused before it, pressing a small intercom button. "Yes?" came a tinny voice. "Mr. Lloyd's visitors are here." The buzzer sounded and the door opened with a click to reveal a long, elegant marble corridor lined with ancestral portraits. There was nothing of the air of an institution about this place, although it was now clear to Gideon that it was, in fact, just that. The corridor gave onto an elegant room, ablaze with light. The room was furnished with dark Victorian sofas and armchairs, the walls covered with Hudson River School paintings of mountains, rivers, and other wilderness scenes. But what attracted Gideon's attention most strongly was the robust man, about 70 years old, with a shock of white hair, seated on one of the sofas. He was wearing a straitjacket. An orderly, Gideon assumed this was Morris, sat next to him with a tray, on which sat an array of dishes, each holding a mound of pureed food. The orderly was spooning dark brown goop into the man's mouth. Gideon noticed that a bottle of red wine sat on the tray, a Chateau Petrus no less. A plastic sippy cup filled with the wine stood adjacent to the bottle. "Your visitors are here, Mr. Lloyd," Ronald announced. The man named Lloyd raised his massive, shaggy head, and two piercingly blue eyes widened at Glinn. Despite the straitjacket and the man's age, he still radiated strength and physical power. Slowly, the man stood up, staring at them and seeming to swell with a singular intensity, and now Gideon could see that his legs were cuffed and hobbled, rendering him unable to walk except in the tiniest of steps. He leaned over and spat out the brown stuff that the orderly had just put in his mouth. "Glinn." He ejaculated the name the same way he had the puree. "And Manuel Garza. What a pleasure." His tone indicated it was no pleasure at all. His voice was strange, quavering and deep, shot through with gravel. It was the voice of a madman.